Welcome back, NAS 4983. This is your instructor, Amy, and this is the Module 7 lecture part 2 over evaluation. A lot of times you'll see assessment and evaluation used interchangeably, and rightfully so. Both words are about measuring and gathering data about something. But for our purposes, for our class, we'll be using assessment to talk about measuring and gathering data from our learners of our language program, and how well they are completing the curriculum with the materials we created for them. We're going to use the word evaluation to talk about measuring and getting data about our program, the overall program, about the teachers, about the curriculum, about the program, and not when it comes to what our learners have learned. So we're going to separate those two. Assessment is for our learners, evaluation is for our teachers and our program and our curriculum. Okay, so program evaluation. We're going to talk about 4 parts of program evaluation, and this is directly from the reading. I believe it's the handbook number 9. Why do we need to evaluate? What do we need to evaluate? How can we use the results of our evaluation? And how can we evaluate in a culturally responsive way? Especially because we're not just evaluating anyone, we're evaluating a program working with an endangered language. And so we want to make sure that we're evaluating in a culturally responsive way. So what is evaluation? It's a systematic method for collecting, analyzing, and using data to examine the effectiveness and the efficiency of our programs. And again, we're using evaluation to talk about our teachers, our program, our curriculum. We're using assessment to talk about what our learners have learned. Okay. So here we're talking about measuring data about our program. So why do we need to evaluate? So what's even the point of evaluating? Well, first of all, let's give some recognition and value to the people involved. Let's talk about how great our teachers did in teaching the students. Let's talk about how well our materials were developed, the ones that worked. Let's let people know that they worked. Let's shout out all the people who came to our program. So there's a lot of positives to evaluation. It's not negative. It does not have to be negative. It also keeps us accountable and in compliance with the expectations of our language community. If there's a grant involved, if there's bosses to our program and our mission, and it really does keep us, make sure that we're in line with what we're supposed to be doing and not getting away from that. And it also allows us to provide feedback to the community. So, we can tell our community, hey, we had X number of people participate and they were able to do this, this, and this. They said that they enjoyed this or this. And we're able to give information to the wider community about our program because we took the time to ask. It can also determine our future plans, our future needs. Maybe we need more teachers or we need more materials. Maybe we found out that people weren't really interested in a certain program we did, but they were very interested in another one. And so this will help give us direction of where we can go going forward. And it can really help improve all aspects of the program if you're open to it. So what are we looking to evaluate? So really, we're just trying to take stock. We're going to list key activities that our stakeholders see as crucial to the function of the program. So this includes, the plan that we developed for our program, the teachers and how they're teaching. It's getting information about the students and from the students and the community support. So we are evaluating the plan. Did we have a good plan? We're evaluating our teachers. Were they good teachers? We're evaluating their teaching methods. Maybe they're a great teacher, but their materials weren't what we were looking for, or maybe the games they did weren't necessarily effective. Maybe certain lessons didn't work out, and so we can, modify that so that we have a better experience next time. We, also need to evaluate our students. Did our students do what we asked them to do? And if they did, could they have done more? If they didn't, why? Was it too much? Was it too hard? Was it too disjointed? If our students weren't able to meet objectives, is there a reason why? Was maybe the timing of our class the issue? And then really trying to evaluate community support, looking to see, did we get any funds for this? Did we get a lot of participation in it? Did we get a lot of support for the different things? So this idea of evaluating in a culturally responsive way. So when you're working in endangered language communities, you definitely have to be sensitive to the values and traditions of the people that you're working with. And so really looking at, what does evaluation mean to the community? Is this something that is going to be looked at critically, and how to go about talking about these things in a way that is not critical? Are there traditions within that group's cultural experiences that lend themselves to evaluation of some kind? If so, then the evaluation should be conducted in that way. And how can traditions be adapted to service as we look at our own program? And so not only does this help ensure participation, but also control by the stakeholders, and is respectful of the values and traditions. So once we've done some kind of evaluation, then what do you do? And I'm going to talk really briefly about what evaluation could look like. A lot of times this can be a survey, like a program survey. After the fact of the program, it can be suggestions, it can be a conversation or a debrief with participants or different stakeholders. It can be anonymous, depending on what kind of information you're trying to get. So once you get your information that you're looking for, what do you do with it? Well, first thing you're going to do is look for places where there were challenges and failures, and see if you can kind of shape your program going forward to fill in those gaps. For example, maybe you need some policies. Maybe there isn't a mechanism for financial support in the group, and so maybe you need to ensure that. You can definitely rethink your plan. Maybe your plan was too ambitious and you just can't get enough done in the time allotted, and so you need to pare down your plan. Maybe you didn't anticipate how long learning a certain skill would actually take for your learners. And so you need to reorganize your curriculum to allow for more time for certain things, whereas other things were picked up so quick that you have less time. It's a good chance also to share within the own community and across to other communities the results of your evaluations. If something worked well, your community is going to want to hear about it, and the other communities want to know about it too. And so you can share with others and maybe get ideas for them what has worked. It's also a great opportunity to renew your commitment to the program. Like, wow, that was hard. We got through it. Look how well, we got evaluated. We got some things we need to fix, but there were a lot of great things. And so it can really rejuvenate your staff, your teachers, and get them excited to do it all again. And you can absolutely, and this should be your number one goal, improve the quality and effectiveness of your programs and activities. So what did we learn? What would we change? And did we reach our goals? And did we reach them in an effective way, or are there easier ways that we can reach our goals? So I talked real briefly previously, so about evaluation techniques, ways you can do that. Surveys are a super common one. Observations, just having watching how people interact or observing how lessons are taught. Interviews, so talking with your teachers or talking with your students. Self reflections, I love having students do self reflections. What did you enjoy about the class? What did you do well in the class with? What did you struggle with? Discussions, so just having conversations about the program, the class, and then language assessments, looking at the test scores or the assessments that your students did and seeing what they did well and what they didn't do well on in their assessments, and adjusting the curriculum accordingly. And I wouldn't say that one of these things is more important, less important than the others. I think that these really work together for different groups and bring different data, different information to the evaluation conversation. It's really important to include multiple techniques for a thorough evaluation. Because if you just went off of surveys, I mean, that's great, but maybe observations would, or self reflections, would contradict those surveys. And so, then having a discussion about that might tease out where the incongruency lies. Okay, so evaluation is a cycle, it goes on forever. And this is, really how any successful long-term program is run. Not just a language program, but a lot of them is this entire, this cycle. So it gives you regular opportunities to reflect on the program, and it allows the important people, the stakeholders, to become comfortable sharing perceptions and ideas. And the more you've gone through this cycle, the more people will just spitball great ideas, the more people will be invested in things, and it does create a sense of ownership in the program because we've done this whole cycle and we've come through. So I would say that you start with plan. You're going to plan your program, and then you're going to evaluate your plan and see if your plan is realistic, if your plan fits your goals well, if your plan takes into account everything it needs to do, and if you need to make some changes, you go back and you make your changes, and then you make sure you evaluate again and make sure that your changes are good, and then you run your program. You do your class, you do your after school, you do your summer camp, and then you evaluate how did it go, right? Did our students learn what they were supposed to learn? Did our teachers, were they able to teach what they needed to teach? What were our challenges? What were our strengths? And then you're going to revise and adjust based on your evaluation. So maybe these lessons 1, 2, and 3 worked really well. Lesson 4 was a disaster, and lesson 5 was, we got through it, but it wasn't great. And so you're going to go back and look at lesson 4 and say, okay, how can we revise lesson 4 to make it as effective as lessons 1, 2, and 3? And then lesson 5, is there anything that, now that we've made changes to lesson 4, that we need to make to lesson 5 to make it flow? And so you make your adjustments, and then you evaluate. Are we still hitting our objectives? Is this doable for our teachers? Do we have what we need to teach this? So you're going to set your goals. This is what we want to do. And then you're going to make sure that your goals are good. And then you're going to plan, you're going to do the whole thing just over and over and over and over and over again. And you're really just, we have a goal. This is how we're going to reach it. Then we're going to try to reach it. Then we're going to look back and be like, did that work or not? And then change, tweak everything to be able to still meet our goals and be able to get to that. It's a cycle. Okay, so that's all I have for you for Module 7 about assessment and evaluation. This is important because in your final, you will be required you'll have a section about assessment where you'll talk about how you'll assess, theoretically the students in your program and give examples of the type of assessments that teachers will give them. And then you'll also talk about your plan for evaluating your program at different levels. And of course, this will all be outlined for you, but you'll want to pay attention to these slides and come back to them when you're writing your final, because you'll have to talk briefly about assessment and evaluation in your program that you're designing. Okay, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.